Hello class 10. Today we are going to start with this chapter, Manufacturing Industries in India part 2, that is agro based. So the first idea that you have to get in this chapter, that is what are agro based industries. Actually the industries which are obtaining their raw materials from the agricultural sector, they are considered as agro based industry, like the cotton textile industry, the jute textile industry, sugar manufacturing industry, all these. So these are all agro-based industry. The first, or rather the most important agro-based industry of India is the textile industry, and to be very specific, cotton textile industry. The first portion or the first topic of the chapter, that is within cotton textile industry, that is the brief history of cotton textiles in India, that is actually not required. So we will start from this part, that is Maharashtra. So actually in ICSE the question comes in this way, that is which place is known as the Manchester of India and why, or rather which place is known as the cotton police of India and why. So if they are asking that which place is known as the cotton police of India, the answer will be Mumbai. So Maharashtra is the area and Mumbai is the center. Or rather, if they're asking that which place is known as the Manchester of India, in that case the answer will be Ahmedabad. So Gujarat is the area and Ahmedabad is the center. So if they are asking the question based on Mumbai or the question based on Gujarat, more or less the points will be same. Only according to the question you have to change the name of the place. Like, let me discuss the answer, then the thing will be clear to you. Suppose they have asked you that which place is known as cotton police of India, your answer will be Mumbai. Now the reasons. The first reason that we can state over here, that is the vast stretch of black soil, which is common in case of Mumbai as well as in case of Ahmedabad. Okay. Next thing that we can say, that the entire region enjoys very good connection of hydroelectricity, as because in the western part of India there is scarcity of coal, so the power derived mainly from hydroelectricity. This point is also common for both the places. Both Mumbai and Mumbai and Ahmedabad, or rather we can say that is both Maharashtra and Gujarat, enjoys port facility. So importing of long staple cotton from different countries of the world and exporting the finished products, that is very easy. Next thing that we can say, both the places are densely populated. So for that matter, there is easy availability of cheap labor in both the places. So if they're asking cotton police of India, your answer will be Mumbai, or rather if they're asking Manchester of India, then the answer will be Ahmedabad. But the reasons will remain same. You are supposed to learn any three reasons. So accordingly in the textbook they have given many. So whichever you feel like, learn any three points. Okay. So for that matter, Gujarat I am not discussing, as because I have already discussed Gujarat and Maharashtra. Now the next place which is good in cotton textile industry, that is Tamil Nadu. Now here is a twist, that is there is a place in Tamil Nadu known as Coimbatore. The name is also written in your textbook. So if they are asking that which place is known as the Manchester of South India, that is the word South should be mentioned, then in that case your answer should be based on Coimbatore. Okay, that is you have to write the points on the basis of Tamil Nadu. So it is also an important cotton textile center of cotton textile industry, and it is also known as Manchester of South India, but it produces less than Gujarat or Mumbai, or rather Ahmedabad or Mumbai, because the mills are much smaller over here. And other than Coimbatore, the other important centers are Madurai, Salem, Tirunelveli, and all that. Now the next one is our state, West Bengal. And from our state, Kolkata is the most important producer. It enjoys the port facility, humid climate, coal from Raniganj, local labor supply, and large demand of cotton cloth. Actually, as a whole, because of the climatic factor, India has a huge demand of cotton garments. The domestic demand itself is very huge. Okay. Now, after West Bengal, the next important center of cotton textile producer, that is Uttar Pradesh. So, within Uttar Pradesh, mostly places like Kanpur, Moradabad, Lucknow, Modinagar, Etawah, these are the important producers. Okay. Now, after that, we have to learn, or we have to go through the problems. For problems also, you can learn any three. I will explain a few more. The first thing that they have said, that is scarcity of raw material. So actually what happens, though in India there is a huge portion or huge tract of land where raw cotton is actually manufactured, but keeping in mind the demand, the supply is insufficient, first of all. Secondly, India mainly produces medium staple and short staple cotton. Mostly due to the partition of the country, the long staple producing areas remained in Pakistan. So for that matter, good quality raw material, there is a scarcity in India of good quality raw material. Then the next thing that we can say, that is obsolete machinery. So in India, most of the mills are very old. Okay, so as the mills are very old, the machineries are also old. So most of the mills, cotton mills, they're actually facing the problems of old and obsolete machinery. If the machineries are old and obsolete, then their production capacity reduces a lot. Now the next thing is inadequate power supply. So with increasing population, the problem of power supply is also becoming acute, because the demand of power supply in the domestic sector is also increasing along with the industrial sector. Now the next thing is low productivity of labor and low productivity of worker. India is facing this problem because of the labor and management problem. The laborers, they are creating problems like they are doing bunds or hartals, and for that matter many productive days are lost. So, and sick mills. Okay, then another thing is there is also the stiff competition. So we can say that Indian cotton, it is facing stiff competition with power loom or other synthetic fibers. And sick mills means when a mill is running for different reason, when a mill is running at loss, it is considered to be a sick mill. And if the loss cannot be recovered, then in most of the cases, the mills are shut down. So that is the problem. Now the next textile industry is the woolen textile industry. So in ICSC, there is a very common question that why most of the woolen industry of India are concentrated in the northern part of the country, or why most of the woolen industry of India are concentrated in Punjab, in and around Punjab. So now, though the reasons are not given very nicely in the textbook, but let me discuss the thing. The first thing that we can say, that India being a tropical country, the demand for woolen garments are restricted to a particular season only. Likewise, as we can say that the demand of cotton textiles are actually for round the year, but for the woolen textiles, the demand is restricted to a particular season only. Another thing, Punjab and adjoining places like Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, in those places, during the winter season, because of the climatic factor, there is a good demand of woolen textiles. But for the rest of the country, as because winter is not very severe, so there are many places where during the winter season, especially the coastal areas, no woolen garments are required. Okay. Thirdly, in and around Punjab, that is Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir, in those places, because of the climatic factor, good quality wool rearing sheep can be reared. Good quality wool bearing sheep can be reared because these animals, they also need a cool and pleasant climate to survive, which is not possible in the rest of the places. Places like Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, all these places, parts of Haryana, they have got many rivers, so that is also needed in woolen textile industry, lot of soft water. So from there they are getting the supply of, from the rivers they are getting the supply of soft water. So for that matter we can say that the woolen textile industry is restricted to the northern part of India or in and around Punjab. Okay, actually if we consider the water factor, it is a common factor for all the textile industry, whether it is the woolen textile industry or cotton textile industry or jute textile industry or silk textile industry. In all the textile industries, huge amount of water is required. Now, the next thing that is the problems being faced by woolen textile industry. So the first problem is shortage of raw material. As I was saying, obviously, that good quality wool bearing sheep cannot be reared everywhere in India because of the climatic factor. So, in very particular places or in very small isolated pockets, these animals can be reared. So, for that matter, the supply of raw material is also less. Next is low market or less demand. Obviously, India being a tropical country, the demand of woolen garments are not there in all the places, especially the coastal areas. They do not have any winter season, and for that matter there is no scope for woolen garments in those places. It's a lack of modern equipment. Like the cotton textile industry, most of the woolen mills are also very old and they are not equipped with modern machineries. Okay, now the next thing that we have to know, or another textile industry, that is the jute textile industry. Okay, so this jute textile industry, few years back also, it was very important for India, as because it was the leading revenue earning industry for the country. And jute, this is also known as golden fiber. What is the reason? There are two reasons. First, that we can say because of the golden yellow color that the fiber bears, and another thing, as because few years back, up to few years back, this industry was the maximum revenue earning industry for India. For that matter, this industry or this fiber is known as, not this industry, the fiber jute, this fiber, it was known as the golden fiber. But now this position has been occupied by tea or tea manufacturing industry. Now, for jute industry, we can see that it is concentrated in and around the Hooghly River basin. So, what are the reasons? The first reason that we can say, that is, in the Hooghly River basin, very good quality alluvial soil is available, which is best for the cultivation of jute. Next, as we all know, we have already learned the agriculture 3, that chapter. So we know that retting is an important process in jute processing, or an important step in jute processing. So because of the presence of the Hooghly River, that can be done very nicely. So other things like coal from Jharia or Raniganj coal field, then iron ore from the nearby mines. So all these raw materials are obtained very easily, as because West Bengal is one of the most densely populated states of India. So there is abundance of cheap and skilled workers. Kolkata also enjoys port facility, and it is well connected by railways and roadways throughout the country. So for all these things, for all these reasons, we can say that the jute industry is concentrated in and around the Hooghly River basin. Now, if we consider the problems associated with the jute industry will be more or less same to the cotton textile industry. Okay, like they are also facing the problem of a serious setback of scarcity of raw material, and the reason is also same, that is due to the when Pakistan rather came into being, or when due to the partition of the country, most of the good quality jute producing areas remained in East Pakistan. My dear students, please don't write Bangladesh, because in 1947 there were no country in the world map named Bangladesh. Bangladesh came into being in 1971 only, much after 1947. So we have to write over here East Pakistan. So once again I'm repeating this, that is due to the partition of the country, most of the good quality jute producing areas remained in East Pakistan, and the jute mills were in West Bengal. So, for that matter, the mills faced acute shortage of raw material, because during that time, due to some sort of political reasons, the import of good quality raw jute from East Pakistan was not possible. Next thing that we can say, that is in course of time, different kind of cheap, easily manufactured and long lasting synthetic fibers have came into the market, which are actually giving a serious competition or a very stiff competition to the jute industry. Okay, next thing that we can say, that is Bangladesh has newly established mills with latest technology, and that is why their products are much better. Okay, so for all this we can say that is the jute industry has lost its previous position nowadays. Now the next thing that we can say, that is suggestions, as once the jute industry was the maximum foreign exchange earning industry for India, but eventually the industry has lost its place. So now the government is trying something or trying out some ways so that these industry can regain its position. Okay, so first of all, the mills should be replaced with good quality latest machineries. Secondly, some alternative uses has to be introduced to diversify the jute products. So these two are the main initiatives taken by the government to revive the jute industry. Now, the next textile industry is the silk industry, which is also very important in India, especially in South India. Okay. So here I would like to say one thing. In your textbook, maybe it is written that there are two categories or two varieties of silk. One is uh, the natural silk, other one is the artificial silk. Please don't write that. If you have been asked to write down the varieties of silk, you will be writing one is the mulberry silk, another one is the non-mulberry silk. Mulberry is a kind of a tree. So when the silkworms, they are coming out from the eggs, they are feeding upon the leaves of the mulberry trees. A particular variety is there which are feeding upon the leaves of the mulberry tree. So that is why they are known as the silk which we obtain from those silkworms, that is known as mulberry silk. It is specially the center for mulberry silk is categorically we can say that is Karnataka. Now another thing is non-mulberry silk. So there are many other kind of silkworms or silk moth uh, who are actually laying eggs on some other trees. So when the uh, silkworms are coming out, they are eating the leaves of those trees, and from those we are getting silk. So that is why they are known as non-mulberry silk. So we can subdivide the non-mulberry silk in three categories. One is eri, another one is tasar, another one is muga. So for muga, the best center is Assam. For tasar, the best center is Madhya Pradesh. For eri, the best center is West Bengal. Okay, so there are many more or few more. I have discussed, or rather I have mentioned only the best ones. Now the next topic that you will see, that is sericulture in Karnataka. Sericulture is the cultivation of silk cocoon, that is sericulture. So why Karnataka is the leading producer of mulberry silk? We have to know the reasons. The first reason that we can say, that is availability of huge quantity of mulberry trees, naturally growing mulberry trees. Okay. The next thing that we can say, that is availability of the silkworm known as Bombyx mori, which is reared throughout the year. Okay. Another thing that we can say, that all the silk producing mills or silk mills, silk manufacturing mills, they are equipped with modern machineries, huge availability or abundant availability of soft water or alkaline free water. So for all these reasons, we can say, and cheap availability of workers as well, we can say that Karnataka is the leading producer of silk. Now the next thing, that is artificial silk or man-made fiber. This is not a category of silk. This is something different. Okay. That is when we are getting fiber from industry. That is, we are not getting fiber from agricultural sector. So that is known as the artificial silk or the synthetic fiber, like nylon, polyester, rayon and all these. You must have heard the name. So please learn the names and name of some of the places where they are produced. Acha. Now the next thing that we have to know, that is the sugar industry. So for sugar industry, what are the products, what are the byproducts, that we have already learned in agriculture 3 chapter. So in this chapter, the thing that we have to know, so again they have discussed over here the byproducts. The previous portion is not required, that is factors responsible for location of sugar industry in India. This portion is actually not needed. We will straight away start from this portion, that is products and byproducts of sugar industry. So there are 3 products, that is gur or jaggery, khandasari and white sugar. As I have already discussed the things in details in agriculture 3, so I am not going through this part. The byproducts, 3 byproducts are also obtained: molasses, bagasse and press mud. Molasses is used for the manufacturing of fertilizer or DDT, which is an insecticide, alcohol, synthetic rubber, plastic, rum, chemicals and cattle feed. Bagasse, which is the crushed cane that can be used in the paper industry and also for making cardboard. Press mud can be used for making wax, shoe polish, carbon paper, etc., etc. Now regarding the problems, the first problem that we can say, that low and irregular supply of raw material. So as because sugar cane, it is an agro-based product, so for different reason, maybe for more rainfall or maybe for less rainfall, whatever, some year, or actually as because in India sugarcane propagation is done through ratooning, so for that matter also the production is not very consistent. The production fluctuates. Some year there is sufficient production, some year there is less production. Now fluctuation in the output of sugarcane. So as because it is done through ratooning, and another thing is that Indian agriculture is largely dependent upon the monsoon rain, so there is a fluctuation in the output as well. Now the third thing is short crushing season. Okay, so actually in northern India, or especially in northern India, this problem is being faced, that is short crushing season. Sugarcane, if it is sown in such a way that the winter season is the crushing season, that is also very bad for sugarcane, because due to severe coldness of northern India, the sugarcane may get spoiled. Similarly, if sugarcanes are planted in such a way that the summer season is the harvesting season, then in the summer season also, as because in northern part of India the summer is hot and dry, it is not humid, so for that matter the sugarcane may face the problem of dryness Okay, so that is why India faces a problem of short crushing season, especially northern India. In the southern India, this problem is not very acute. Achha. Then another problem which is common for all the different kind of industries, that is old and obsolete machineries and imbalanced distribution, that the sugarcane industries are not nicely distributed throughout the country. It is concentrated in some parts of the country. Now, another question that they are giving in ICSE very frequently, that is difference between sugar industry of northern India and peninsular India. Though they have discussed the thing in this way in your textbook in the form of differentiation, but in ICSE actually they are giving the question like that, that which industry is migrating towards the south or which industry is shifting towards the south and why. The answer is the sugar industry is shifting or migrating towards the south. What is the reason? The reason is, first of all, we can say that in South India, the climate is hot and humid. It is not hot and dry. So this hot and humid climate is ideal, not only ideal for the cultivation of sugar cane, is also good for crushing the canes. Another thing that we can say, that is in the northern India, loamy soil is available for the cultivation of sugar cane. But in the southern part of India or in the peninsula part of India, black soil is available for the cultivation of sugar cane. And black soil gives better result than loamy soil. Okay, so and because of the hot and humid climate, the crushing season is longer in southern part of India. Another thing that we can say, that is in the northern part of India, the mills are very old. So that is why they are not well equipped with modern machineries. But in the southern part of India, as the mills are not very old, so they are well equipped with the modern machineries. Okay, and in the southern part of India, the mills are managed through cooperative processes or through cooperatives. That is why they are giving better production, or the fluctuation in production is much less. So that is why, because of all these favorable reasons, the sugar industry is migrating towards the south. So here today we are ending the chapter Agriculture 3. Hope you have enjoyed your class. Now in the next week I will be uploading another video upon some other chapter. So for the timing until then, please learn this chapter and prepare yourself. Okay, thank you.